Hello, and welcome to another installment of Building Remarkable, sponsored by Big Sky Economic Development. I'm Patrick Klugman, Director of Development at Big Sky Economic Development, and I'm excited today to be joined by Lee Humphrey, the Board President of the Billings Depot. Welcome, Lee.
Thanks, Patrick.
Well, I'm excited today, like I said, because we're really going to, more so than anything, just have a conversation. We're going to learn about what is going on over at the Billings Depot on Montana Avenue. I think oftentimes we drive by on Montana and we just kind of think and have the perception as to what the Billings Depot is, but we're going to learn from Lee today a lot of what is going on, not just today, what's kind of previously happened, as well as then what's upcoming and things that our entire community can be excited about. Lee, before we do that though, I did want to kind of just learn a little bit about you and who you are, maybe on what you do kind of day to day outside of the Billings Depot briefly.
I work for Edward Jones, been a financial advisor in the Billings community for 17 years now. I run the office downtown on Broadway, halfway between Alberta Bear and Babcock. And kind of a passion for mine is getting involved with things that help make Billings better, more fun, more exciting, and just kind of help the community. So that's kind of my side job, as I'm usually involved with something. So been on the MSUB Alumni Board before, Rotary, and Billings Depot most recently, and it's been a fun experience. I've really enjoyed it.
Fantastic. Lee, I know we talked a little bit just kind of off camera briefly just about how you're constantly busy. You're always staying busy within the community and working to provide benefit to the community. So as board president of the Billings Depot, what got you to that position? How did you get to board president, and how long have you been on the board?
Michelle, the executive director, actually twisted my arm into it. We had some drinks over at Buffalo Block and discussed it, and I felt that I could be a benefit to the board. This was about 2 years ago, so I got on the board a couple of years ago, came in as vice president, and Leif Wellhaven was the president, and then I switched and became the president. So like I said, it's been interesting. Was not expecting a worldwide pandemic to jump in for a event center. So it's not exactly what I expected, but the board has done very well. Michelle has done amazing. So it's been quite an experience, and I'm glad I was a part of it. That's
great to hear. The board for the Billings Depot, is it a small board, a large board? What kind of does that look like?
We're a pretty good sized board. What we've done is set up the board in a way that it's almost more like a job description. Mm-hmm. So we have Marcel with you guys. She connects us to economic development. Mehmet with downtown Billings. Ali with the chamber. So everyone's kind of have whatever they really are good at and what they engage with personally. We try to set them up so that's really what they do for the board. So for our CPA or Allen with Opportunity Bank, whoever it is that's on the board kind of just specializes in their area. And so our board is bigger, about 16 to 18 people, but everyone can kind of work in what their passion is and what they do every day to really be able to engage. And then we have a few that just help run events and make it a more fun place and a fun time.
Awesome. Well, I think you kind of referenced one thing that we see a lot within the community. And again, as I kind of said at the start of the conversation, as we drive by Montana, I think a lot of Billings residents all have a little bit of a perception as to what the Billings Depot is. I would say kind of that heavily looks towards a wedding venue. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to just learn more about what is happening in the future today with the Billings Depot, and what is happening in the future with the perception of maybe bringing it outside of not just a wedding venue, but an event center. I heard you say event center. What does that look like?
Well, so the Billings Depot has been around. The depot's been around since 1909. About the last 30 years has been nonprofit. So Billings Depot is actually a nonprofit organization, and so when it basically started out holding some events, what can you do with a big venue like that? So weddings were kind of a very good fit, mm-hmm. And so it was voted as best wedding venue in town several years in a row. It's a great event center for weddings, but it kind of got pigeonholed a little bit in the wedding space, and even though other events are held there. So it's kind of known for weddings, even though other things happen. So really what we're doing is highlighting and showcasing the other things that happen there, but also creating fun new events. The depot, it's got interesting place because it actually has parking in downtown Billings.
Yeah.
So you can actually hold a big event, have a place to park. It's in the middle of downtown. And because there's so many different ways you can use the building, there's a lot of fun things that can be done there. And so a lot of fun things were being done, but now we're really trying to ramp that up and have it be a great place for weddings, a great place for events, but also a place that people can look forward to seeing what's happening this weekend or next month and join in for an event and have some unique experiences that really makes a town vibrant and a city like Billings able to give people things to do and memories throughout the year.
I think the Billings Depot, as we know, has always been, and it sounds like as it's continued to move forward, I would say is an extreme asset to our downtown Billings. Would you agree with that?
I really do agree with that. I think that if the depot had not survived in its form it is now, that Billings would have suffered a huge loss. Yeah. I'm very glad and grateful that we were able to save the depot for Billings and that it is now functioning as a nonprofit and bringing value to Montana Avenue and to Billings.
Absolutely. So not only bringing value to Billings, Montana, exciting new ideas and kind of changing the perception to the building and to the place that it is in downtown Billings, but also really kind of revving up the technology and the opportunities within the space and the site. Can you tell me more about this virtual reality tour that's going on?
Mm-hmm. Yep. In addition to adding, so it was interesting, like I said, during the pandemic because very quickly added some streaming options, so weddings could happen and guests that couldn't come you could stream and see the actual wedding and the event happening if you couldn't
really?
Show up. Sound, lighting, so some of those things have added, and virtual reality tours are just coming online, so we'll be able to, whether you go to it from your cell phone and you want to tour the depot, but the most fun way is through Oculus. It's just getting set up now. So the virtual reality headsets can go in and be able to look around up and down and see the ceiling and the walls and be able to tour the depot from anywhere. And so we're going to have those headsets. So as Visit Billings travels or for downtown Billings, or if someone needs to do a tour and they can't get there, we'll be able to actually be in the depot, see the depot, but not have to travel to the depot. So it's going to be super exciting to be able to give tours of the depot from anywhere in the world.
That's phenomenal. And you said Oculus, that's the headset that you put on, and anybody, you said people around the community are going to have them as well. And if I owned one and I'm in Florida and I want to look at, potentially this being a site, is that something that I can just connect right into onto my headset?
Yep, there'll be a site that you can go to and log into it. So I first was introduced to them during the pandemic, so a few of my friends got it, and you can actually join with each other and talk to each other through it, and we would mini golf or do other things when we're all quarantined. You can actually group talk and see each other's virtual characters, so it's a fun device, but I mean, for something like this, it's amazing because you can really link it up to any Oculus in the world, and you could even, if someone has one in Germany, send a link to it and be able to do a tour.
And would they be able to watch whatever event is live with those as well, or is that something that's a different kind of platform?
So it'll be a different platform. You'll be able to live stream, so you'll be able to watch a wedding more from a static position.
Yeah.
The Oculus would be doing a tour of the actual event center and seeing what it looks like.
Very good. Well, we've talked a lot about the immediate upcoming events as well as the future events as well. Can you talk about some of these exciting events that we're looking to, again, bring outside as more of an event center, that people are going to be bringing people in our community to downtown and specifically to Montana Avenue and to the Billings Depot?
Yeah, we have a lot of different types of events, so just to kind of give you an idea of the range of events that we have going on. Business After Hours through the Billings Chamber, that's being hosted next week with LW Consulting, and that will actually be an event where business members will be coming in there and being able to network, and it'll be plenty of space, and the Chamber hosts that one. We're going to have Bad Santa coming up. That's a brand new event. It's going to be a adult Christmas party, so it's kind of fun because there's not a lot of things that happen that's more adult themed for grown-ups to go hang out, and that's going to be happening in early December here. And then we are going to go from there and Valentine's Day events. So we test ran that this year, And the Valentine's Day event's really cool because able to reserve last year a side of the depot and have a 3-course meal and has some other fun things that would happen as well. And so just have a unique space to do a fun event at as well. Later on the year, Tacos and Tequilas was a huge success. Luckily, that happened in the lull of COVID, so we were able to have a bigger event. But that used the entire depot space, and it was a fun event that we were able to go out and have tequila and tacos and hang out as a community. And I want to say there was about, throughout the night, probably 300 to 400 people that were there. So everything from small private events like Valentine's all the way to huge events like Tacos and Tequila. And then we did a beef bourbon and cigar dinner about a year ago. And that was actually our first test run of doing the depot actually hosting instead of someone else hosting a custom event. So outside, and basically had a delicious meal cooked by Stephen over at Stacked and some steaks. So we had beef, amazing steaks. Beef Council helped provide that. And then we had cigars and had a couple of different cigars and some either bourbon or wine, and got to sit outside and socialize. And that was done more in pandemic time, so we actually had to have separated tables. But it was kind of nice because we were able to be outdoors and still host something when we had a lot of restrictions in place. And it's a big enough campus that the flexibility was there. We only had to shut down for a little while, but also able to follow all of the CDC health guidelines and county health guidelines. So we were always very careful as a board looking at that to make sure that we did as much as we could while following the guidelines that were in place.
Still staying safe. Mm-hmm. That's great. So, are you familiar with this tequila potential shortage that I'm hearing more and more about, that you might have to stack up on a couple extra boxes?
I have not heard of the tequila shortage, but I'll let Michelle know. That's important to know for that kind of an event.
No question. You had referenced a couple of these events that you had previously, as well as in the upcoming ones, and doing kind of duplicates of those as well. Some of them you used the entire site of the Billings Depot. Some of them were just maybe sides. Does each one kind of it's more case by case scenario and it determines on what event it is?
That's correct. So the depot has 2 main sides. And so if it's a smaller event, it could use just one half of the depot, but it could also use the entire depot and the outdoors as well. So we've had events that have been inside the depot and then also gone over the entire campus. And then the Post, which is a separate building, so the depot and then Bar MT, and the Post is beside there. The Post is a building that can be rented separately, or it has been combined with events to have an entire another exhibit area or events. So that is something that we can use on that campus.
That's actually was going to be my next question, because I think that's kind of a hidden gem to this community, the Post, that space and what that is and what that's allowed for throughout the entire community, and that it's rentable. I know Big Sky Economic Development has used it as a resource for different events. Are you able to elaborate a little bit on that and talk about the Post and just exactly what it is?
And I've even used it personally, so it's a space that's a little unique because it's the brick building, like I said, to the right of Bar MT. And so it's by the patio area in Bar MT kind of is in the middle of Bar MT and the Post. And that area can be rented for a weekend or for one day for an event. So the nice thing is can set up exactly what you want in a smaller space. And then, like when I did it, I collaborated with Bar MT and said, hey, would you reserve the patio for me if I buy all my beer from you? You can hold it just in the event. So collaborations are kind of fun there, but you can also just use that space for a business meeting, a small wedding, a birthday party, graduation parties, things like that. It's a lot of fun for also things like if you can get it early enough for events that are going on downtown like Blues Fest, et cetera, if there's openings for it.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I've always thought about, and I guess I'm asking you the question, for a Super Bowl party. Would you be able to do that privately and see if it's
pretty
available?
Much if it's available, you can probably do any kind of party that you want to throw as long as it's available.
That's great.
And
graduation party?
Graduation parties. So it is a great space. for those smaller parties because it's big, but it also is not so overwhelming that you can't, and you can put decorations up in it, and so it's just a fun, customizable space that's more economic than renting the entire depot.
Right.
But also it's a really, depending on what you want to use it for, it's a very good price point for pretty much any kind of an event.
I'm going to ask you a really unfair question, and as I preface that, I'll tell you that I have the answers, and I'm going to cheat because I have the answers in front of me. But the post and renting the post, as far as some of those price points and things that are really, available and can, be more efficient financially for people. Do you remember some of those numbers as to what they are at rentable for hourly, daily, weekend, the week, or the month?
Patrick, I think I'm going to punt this one to you
Okay.
because while we have discussed them, as president of the board, I don't exactly have them memorized.
And as I said, a completely unfair question, and I'm cheating that I have them, but just so that our community knows, and just the asset that this space is, and as Lee did such a great job elaborating to, is that it is completely available to the public, and that anybody, whether it's a private business, whether it's an organization, can use this space. Hourly, that's at $75 an hour. Daily, $375. Weekend, $500. A week, $800, and then the entire month would be $2,500. So I really wanted to emphasize that because I know from experience, and again, that Big Sky Economic Development has used that, and just being its location and being right kind of on that great space and in that corridor has always been something that a lot of people have been attracted to, and I think you can really take advantage of.
Well, and it's pretty much impossible to find a space for a few $100s for an entire day or a weekend for $500.
Yeah.
It's really hard to actually come across anywhere that's of any decent size. You can set it up how you want to. So I've always thought that was a great price point for that space. And it was also designed to be a pop-up retailer. So that's hence the month rental is that if someone wants to have a Christmas store or something over like Valentine's Day, whatever it is, that it could be rented for a month for a pop-up retail location without having to sign a lease and find a space. So there's a lot of opportunities with the way that it's priced to do a one weekend event, craft show or something, all the way out to a whole month.
Fantastic. And if somebody is looking to this audience, or maybe somebody sees this episode and are thinking this is a good idea to do any of the different things that we've talked about, whether that be a graduation in the upcoming months, whether that be a Christmas party, or they are looking to have one of those larger events within the entire Billings Depot, of course, a potential wedding. How does this audience reach out to the depot to find out more information about some of those reservations?
Either calling the depot directly or the Billings Depot website would probably be the two best ways to find out the information. Personally, if it's me, I like to just call and they can talk to me directly and answer. And there's great staff that's down there that can answer any questions. But there is information on the website as well, the billingsdepot.com.
Very good. And it's got contacts and everything there.
Correct.
Another one that I've heard a lot about, and I need to learn more about, though I feel like I've just had that, heard enough about it and want to know more. The 1909 Society. Can you talk a little bit about that, what that is, and what that provides you with potential membership?
Yep, 1909 Society is a really neat brainchild that Michelle came up with, that because we're holding so many new events and we're really trying to have stuff happening every month, so a couple of things a month that are fun. Basically, 1909 Society allows its members to go in and get first access to things like tacos and tequila and be there early. Also allows members to have 1909 Society only events. So the goal is to have anywhere from 6 to 10 of those a year where they can get in for that. And so it's just a fun membership to have. And it's one of those things that gets you access to some other even collaborations, like whether it's with the Petroleum Club or other places, try to do collaborations that can get them into events that you wouldn't have access to otherwise, and gets on early access to other ones.
VIP access, it sounds like.
Access. It's your VIP card to the depot.
That's right. What is a kind of a goal as far as total membership of that membership club, that 1909 Society?
So we don't have a specific goal. I can't remember off the top of my head how many members we have right now.
Okay.
But the idea would be to provide enough value with that and enough events that it kind of just drives its number up. So really, the goal is more around providing the value and having the fun events and people looking at the depot every week and every month to see what's happening and what's going on, that we continually go up, 200, 300, 400, 500 members. So really it's a focus right now on what we're providing with it, and even for the depot as a whole, and trying to make it just a fun, exciting place that, if you do have your wedding there, for example, it's somewhere you've also had a lot of other fun events. And so you've been at Tacos Tequila and Bad Santa, and then you also want to go hold your wedding there as well, as opposed to being viewed as just a wedding venue, because it can be so much more, especially with the location, and it is so much more.
Absolutely. Just leave those great experiences that are multiple different experiences of just different events that people can enjoy, and again, create that vibrancy of our downtown. You talked about collaborations, and I'd be interested to hear some of the different collaborations that the Billings Depot maybe has had that are, just their staunch collaborations that have always made the Billings Depot what it is today, as well as maybe some potential that we'll maybe see in the future, or ones that you look to see in the future as well.
Probably the biggest collaborations from an organization standpoint, the Chamber, Downtown Billings, a lot of the community partners that have really worked together with the depot to help collaborate on big events like Visit Billings bringing events into the city, and then the depot being able to help host them, and same with Downtown Billings and working there. And then a lot of community partnerships, whether it's for catering or holding events. So there's a lot of smaller partnerships that really make everything function. Like I said, whether it's with smaller places like the Petroleum Club or Stacked or other places that have worked with us in the past, or up to the big community organizations that really are kind of key. I don't think if you don't cooperate in a city like Billings and really work together, and there's great working relationships among the different organizations, and that's why we have members from Chamber and Downtown Billings and Economic Development on the board, because there is just cross communication and collaboration that happens that really, and the excitement of all of this happening, we're all on board with trying to make this just something a little bit more and a little bit more shining jewel of downtown, and it already is, but it can be more, and we are very excited about what else we can bring into this.
One of my last questions, I think, will be kind of you just referenced it again to a little bit of a two-ended question, being that catering. If I reserve an event at the Billings Depot, is catering and food and beverages are all going to be provided at the Billings Depot? And then on the outside, second part of that question is, does the Billings Depot provide catering outside for a different event, whether that be outdoors, whether that be on the other side of town, but somebody wants the staff and the experiences that they've had at Billings Depot? Are those opportunities that are provided as well?
So we work with community partners. So Magic City Casino does the bar service, typically inside the depot, food-wise, because everyone's so specific on the event that they want to have. Anyone can really cater in the depot, as long as they can handle the event. So that we do have quite a few partners with. Then it's really up to the individual who's holding the event for what, maybe they want to have Mexican food, maybe they want to have fine dining. So that really is more open to the wonderful restaurants that are here in this town, and working with them, the ones that want to work in the depot. So the depot doesn't have its own kitchen. Great. Well, it has a kitchen, but it doesn't have its own cooks and staff, and so it can have the best food in the city of Billings served in the depot. So
for that specific event.
So that's part of what makes it so special, is it's not really tied to one specific restaurant or anything. You can really have a variety of food. It just depends on what you as a person hosting an event there want to have. And even as the depot, we work with different organizations we even collaborated with Blind Bison. That was a lot of fun for different kinds of events.
Very good. Lee, we've ran through our time. Is there anything additionally that you wanted to reference at all, or that I'm missing that the Billings Depot wants to make sure that is emphasized and is out?
Well, if you want to check out the next event, Bad Santa is on Friday, the 4th of December, I believe that is the Friday. And it should be a lot of fun. Like I said, it is a 21 and older comedy, just fun and interactive event. So that'll be a fun one to be at, along with Business After Hours if you're involved in business community. And then just keep an eye on what's happening at the depot. There's going to be a lot of fun things. We did not ramp it up as much this year with the issues with COVID and stuff happening, but as those start to subside, there's a lot of plans going on. So just be looking for things happening at the depot and fun events. And if you do want to use the space, whether it's the post or the depot, or want to collaborate on an event, always happy to talk to you. Michelle Williams is an amazing executive director, and she would be happy to talk to you about things that can be done in the depot.
Fantastic. Lee, thanks so much for joining me today.
Yeah, thank you.
I would say before I end today, I did look over at Lee's socks, and I don't know, I'm going to put it to the viewers as to who has the best socks.
Ooh, I think you might be winning this one, yeah.
Yeah, I got a little bit more color.
Yeah, more color on yours. If I'd known we were in a competition, I would have amped up my sock game.
Lee, thanks again. And thank you all for joining Building Remarkable, again hosted by Big Sky Economic Development. We look forward to having you next time.